Well, my submission comes on the day where we remember the late Gilles Villeneuve. Hence the fact why the jazzy shirts have gone away for this week, and it's my reappearance back on FanFormula after a couple of weeks on the sidelines due to illness, I'm afraid. So, first of all, I'd just like to say, Salut Gilles, Forza Ferrari, and Gilles will remember you always. Obviously, it comes on to the topic of Mugello. Yes, the first day. Did I really take much interest in the testing? Not really, and I'll tell you for why. I mean, I think it's good that in-season testing has been, let's say, brought back. But then it was quite surprising to see Messrs Hamilton and Button not attending the test, and Jenson was doing the best part of over 170 miles an hour down the streets of Budapest outside the government building and doing a load of donuts and making the crowd happy. Fair enough, okay. And the interview between him and Natalie Pinkham on Sky Sports F1 HD was quite entertaining. He said, "Oh, here we are at Mugello." He said, "No, you're not," like that, and he was just playing a game. But I think it was just showing how cool and relaxed Jenson was. I would rather see, I mean, obviously there are going to be some developments for Barcelona. Obviously there's been a lot of teams, including Mercedes, Sauber, Force India, McLaren. They've been trialling new noses or new wings. But McLaren seem to have something that's probably going to help with their brake ducts, possibly. Ferrari's probably going to have a bit more developments on the rear of the car, with the, as it was called, the Ferrari chassis possibly coming to fruition. I would rather wait until Barcelona to find out what than what the 3 days of testing would have achieved. Was it a mistake by McLaren to not send Jenson and Lewis there? I think they should have offered the opportunity, saying, look, if you do want to go to Mugello, that's fine. I mean, Lewis wanted to go. I mean, he really feels he's got a title chance this year. He's in the fight along with Jenson, so I can understand his eagerness to get behind the wheel and say, look, let's do some testing where I can really, really benefit from it and possibly get the jump on a lot of people. And when you think about it, a lot of the drivers who were there, apart from Kimi, I think, as well, was a notable exception. So I think, well, it depends on how McLaren felt about whether they wanted both drivers to be there, and if there was an accident or something that could have potentially caused injury, they might have said, well, let's give the drivers a little bit of breathing space, or give them the opportunity to express whether they want to go. So it's a double-edged sword there, really. I'm sorry, but I'm going to really make a comparison here with Jarno Trulli. I mean, the Mugello circuit is quite a challenging circuit, especially for a Formula 1 car. I mean, the thing is that if testing was to happen at Monaco, would he be complaining? I wouldn't be. I'd love the experience of going around a street circuit. But Mugello has been around for a long time. Yes, it's a very, it's very small, and it's, obviously straights, corners, obviously passing opportunities, that sort of thing. But he's doing a Jarno Trulli. I think at the end of the day, he's there to do a job. Yeah, he might have some beef about Mugello, but at the end of the day, sometimes, I mean, he's only been with the team, he's already opening his mouth again, and that could spell trouble for the Russian. I think he was complaining about the cold or something like that, but for goodness sake, he's from Russia. I would have thought he would have been a lot harder skinned than, well, just as hard skinned as Heikki Kovalainen, his teammate. Excitement about setup at Barcelona. Well, it's a proving ground for the teams, and we know that there have been some good races in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what setups each team come up with, and obviously with the double gap this time around for the tyres, with the soft and the hard compounds that Pirelli will be bringing to Catalunya. It's going to be interesting to see how the team set up the cars in retrospect, and obviously with the new developments, whether You're going to have to adapt quickly, but with the amount of kilometres that they cover at Catalonia in pre-season testing, has probably helped them to maybe understand the compounds a bit more, depending on obviously what tyres were available at the pre-season test. Is anyone's guess, or whether there was a double gap, or whether they provided all the compounds and thought, right, let's see what we can do with each tyre, how long you can run it for, what's the degradation, marbling, that sort of effects as well, if the aero is going to have an effect on the tyres, how close we're going to get to the cliff. It'll be interesting to see. I think there'll still be a lot of excitement about setup, because the teams, let's face it, we're trialling new parts at Mugello. So there are going to be developments coming, guys. It's just that we haven't seen any, because they've been at long haul flights. You know, we've had Australia, Bahrain, China and Malaysia. 2.5 months. I mean, that gives the teams time at their respective bases to try and work out new parts, new aerodynamic changes maybe to the vehicle, testing it in the wind tunnel through CFD, and also simulator work with the test drivers. So it's anyone's guess as how the setups are going to differ when we get to Catalonia. So it could be exciting, we could have a few surprises. So, ciao tutti, as the Italians would say. Au revoir for now, and I'll see you next week for FanFormula. And looking forward to seeing Formula 1 coming back onto our screens at Catalonia. So fingers crossed for a good race.